Goryos, but very specifically, I've been kind of enchanted by the idea of playing Force of Negation in the main deck and getting to play a Force of Negation, a combo deck that plays entirely at instant speed and gets to play 4 Force of Negation to protect the combo. This dynamic is very interesting and exciting to me. I have been like very much struggling on like Grief main or Leyline Binding main. I think you have to play Grief, otherwise your Ephemerates are like just kind of dopey. The Griefs are also like really good. I mean, this is like a sorcery speed card, but it's a 0 mana sorcery speed card, so I don't really count it as much. You can play the Bindings in the sideboard still, bring them in against like Catch All, Graveyard Hate, gets Leyline Binding, gets Teferi. There's some matchups where like Binding is like better than Solitude. You get to do the swap here. I think like 5 reanimation targets, 1 Griselbrand, 4 Atraxa is pretty good. I think I like the 6 2-mana discard effects. This is something I was struggling with for a while. And then, of course, playing Witch's Cottage in the mana base lets you play the Aethermage's Touch, which gives you just like an added density of reanimation effects for Goryos, and also like extra blue cards for Force of Negation. Really ties the room together. Really well. Looks similar to what Yellow House was playing. Yeah, I don't know if Yellow House was playing the Force build, but obviously like this whole like Atraxa Goryo's plan has been around for a while. I noticed he was also, I think he was playing a few different versions, right? Can Atraxa only hit instant creature land? Yes, in the main deck, which is like an issue with the bindings. But I think it's also like kind of okay, where like when it can like find you like just the 0 mana answer, and then it finds you Ephemerate, then you find like 3 more cards. Like Atraxa is like definitely way more of like a card selection spell here, is kind of how I'm thinking about it. Where like you like find an Ephemerate, you find a premium 0 mana answer, you Ephemerate again, and then you're up like 5 or 6 cards that are like really like as good as they can be. But this dynamic, this may be a good point that our blitz are bad. 4 seems sketchy with only 13 other blue cards. What about with 17 blue cards? Would it still seem sketchy if I could just tell you that they're 17? Would it be less sketchy then? Touch the Spirit Realm, Blink, China Famine. I mean, that card sucks so much. I don't know. I think I'm just okay. Like I think I'm just okay getting less cards off of Atraxa. Purge is mostly for scam, and then post board she gets more cards too. Although you could do something like play a couple of bindings in the main deck. That could be kind of interesting, just to dig for Atraxa, so like 2 main, 2 side. Actually, what if we did do that? Swan Song sucks! You're main decking Swan Song! Like, especially when this list only plays 2 alterations, you know what I mean? But it's like, almost all decks in Pioneer play creatures for you to target with alteration. The exceptions are Lotus Field and Blue-White Control. Those matchups game 1 are still awful for you as the Archfiend deck, even with 2 Swan Songs. The matchup is still awful. You just need to plan to board out of the combo in those matchups, instead of like, hoping that you can still combo with your Swan Song. Like your Archfiend is still a threat in those matchups, right? And like your alterations do nothing. But holy shit, am I not wanting to main deck Swan Song? That card is like just so underpowered. That card like is you're 2 for 1ing yourself in a really serious way. 3 Griselbrand. Okay, Reginald with 13 months. Rack with a 16, Macau with 9 months. Like you just like this at a very simple like level. You gotta put good cards in your deck. And Swan Song is not a good card. Would Swan Song be okay for the bird is a 1/1? I don't know. It isn't a 1/1, you know what I mean? it isn't a 1/1, so I don't know. I think we go Lounge, Godless Shrine probably. But Drown, yeah, Drown is good in Rogues, but like at the very least I don't like Drown in decks like that just have Thoughtseize as an enabler. Like in Rogues, you're incidentally milling your opponent. Drown is like an actually good card there, but like without like that incidental mill, it's just like too slow in almost every matchup. Frieza, 27 months. Thank you. I think yeah, just Solitude. If I draw a Force, I'm pretty happy to have Aethermage's Touch. My opponent's gone Indatha Triome, Marsh Flats. I'm not sure how much we're supposed to play around a counterspell here. But I think I'm okay trying to Goryos on their instep still. I guess it could be a Teferi deck. If they play Teferi, it's kind of awkward. I can still Goryos and like look for a force. The mirror, maybe. That mana base usually Goryos. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So maybe I'm just supposed to jam. Wow, it actually is. Sam, 37 months, thank you. Yeah, it's better for me to play around binding by doing this on their turn, because I can find force and force it. But it doesn't mean I miss my land drop, for sure. I consider Mother of Machines for creativity titan the board. That card's 5 mana. It doesn't play well with Goryos. And also, like, isn't that good against creativity because they just target it with their creativity? Alright, we have 4 Force of Negations in the deck, obviously. When we find one. If we miss, we can just Solitude our own Griselbrand, though. Do you have an opinion on Archfiend and Dross combo Pioneer? I think it's good. I think it, like, there's, like, it's got, like, an interesting first draft that I think can be tuned some more. Also, like huge shout out to Ray for breaking it. Can a mod set up like an exclamation point Ray REI, and they get them a link to their Twitter to follow? Cause,
what's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Like I tried really hard to find something like good and like fresh and innovative to like brew and pioneer, and I couldn't. And Ray did, which I think is very exciting. Right, there's a force. There's 2 forces. Deck techs are 1500 bits Frost, but I could take a look. Just you're good for the rest. Let me force this though. I think immediately kind of showing off the idea behind the Force of Negations. Also, yeah, Griselbrand is looking better to me than Atraxa. I think this was like really the swap we needed in this build at least. Obviously, there are other builds where Atraxa's better. The 3-2 split seems kind of cool. They're gonna Binding again. Yeah, I'm talking about the Archfiend of Dross combo deck that Ray played at Dallas. Oh, did they just like... I think they just fetched the wrong thing. That's kind of funny. Maybe not. Maybe that's not what happened. Oh, I missed that I had a grief. Oh, damn it! Oh, no! I was looking at the deck tech. Oops. That's okay. Funny enough, it's like really okay. We're so ahead, but I should have griefed it. I just forgot to Ephemerate my Griselbrand also. Like classic deck tech punt. It's okay. It's a good punt to make. Evaluating Mill and Pioneer is like really tough when like I have no idea what the deck looks like in action. If that makes sense. I want to keep one of the touches as blue cards, or one of the touches as a blue card. I want to keep one of the lands. I want to keep the grief. I guess I put back one of the touches. I still have to discard another one? Discard the land? I have to discard another one. Wow. You keep the Ephemerate, you keep the Solitude, and you keep the Force. I guess I have 2 Ephemerates. Yeah, obviously a huge punt there. But I think we're still going to win pretty easily. I really don't like these 4 main deck Brotherhood ends. That doesn't make any sense to me. I would really need to see this deck like play out in paper, but I also think you need instant speed 1-mana removal spells to kill Greasefang. I also hate playing Brotherhood End and Ruin Crab in the same deck. I think that makes no sense. I think you need to play 4 Foundings. So I guess you're like, yeah, I don't know. -4 Brotherhood End. -3 Strangle, +4 Firing Pulse, +1 Founding, +1 Iteration maybe. Maybe +1 Didn't Say Please. Okay, so we'll take another Force, the Shrine. Maybe we take another Ephemerate? No, I think I take another Force. Ender sideboard? They're not sideboard here. Oh, they are. Yeah, they're main deck here. You have or they should be sideboard, sure. Okay, so despite our pretty egregious punt, we're still up a game. Teferi's really broken in the mirror. Also, if they have Leylines, the Teferi's are really nice, which they could have. I think I'm down to trim an Aethermage's Touch and a Mending. 4th Solitude. Could play Bindings for like their own Teferis, but I just don't think there's really enough room. It'd be too hard to oversideboard. Yeah, Atraxa for the second Force Sprite would have been a bit better. Yeah, I don't think I have really too many thoughts on the sideboard, but that's probably how I would start. Good luck. You gotta do some play testing. I have no idea how that deck would play. Yeah, classic deck tech punt. Talk about why more Griselbrands or over Atraxa. So to build the deck in this way with like the Force of Negation build, which I think is very interesting, and like as you saw there, Force is really good with Griselbrand playing at instant speed. You just don't have the card types for Atraxa, and so I think you're supposed to favor Griselbrand in your split because of that. We're still doing like 2 mostly like for pitch card counts and like, but like weirdly enough, Griselbrand I think is better than Atraxa in this build, and I think the 3-2 split at the moment looks pretty good. It's also like it's never been like that Atraxa is like much better than Griselbrand. She's always been a little bit better than Griselbrand, and in this specific build, I do think Griselbrand is like again better. And it's just kind of like in the other builds, I can keep this. In the other builds, the like pitch card count mattered a lot. It still matters here. We still have 2, but and then it's also like your card type split is like a bit more diverse, so Atraxa is a bit better. We're testing Grixis Delver as throwback to early days. Of course not. Why? There's no world where like the card Delver of Secrets gets registered over any number of cards at this point in time. And we're also like definitely not playtesting for the Throw Tours, just as a throwback to me having registered Delver in the past. Yeah, with 12 free spells in the deck, Griselbrand is also just kind of better. Aethermage Touch is good in this deck. Yeah, so you're playing Witch's Cottage, so that you are going to use Witch's Cottage to put your big creature on top of your library, then cast Aethermage's Touch to put it into play. And what's cool about Aethermage's Touch is it continues to play. It gives you redundancy to Goryos. Obviously, Goryos is better, but you only get to play 4 Goryos. I can't let that go. You only get to play 4 Goryos, and it's a blue card and a white card for Force and Solitude, and it plays with your all instant speed combo deck and your Force of Negation deck, which is kind of cool to me too. I think we grief them here, weirdly enough. Whoa, they were Calibrated Blast all the time, the whole time. Scion's a little bit scary. Funny though. Got a little bit of time. I did draw a 2-mana looter. I did trim 1. After you cast a Blind Touch, usually just when you're desperate. But one nice thing about Aethermage's Touch also in this deck is it can beat Graveyard Hate, or like it's like also like good against like targeted Graveyard Hate sometimes. You can like double Cottage to play around something like Hearse or Lantern. Rancid 34 months, thank you. Yeah, we have 4 Ephemerates in the deck. Alright, they're just YOLOing the blast, and they hit a Fable. Yeah, and you can also like Aethermage touch back your Incarnations. Like, there's a good chance we end up doing that next turn if we draw a fetch land. Let's then Cragwood Cremator. That card's cool. The combo's cool. It's not something that I'm like crazy about or anything though. Yeah, which is Cottage Mirror, huh? May just be like a little blasted out of the game. Those are pretty dead. I have seen it, Sam. Our assignment, I have seen it. I mean, like, Protean Hulk combo isn't new, but Sam does make it better. It'll be on the list. So they hit a Dothy Voidwalker, which is one of few cards we could have possibly seen. Although I guess that maybe keeps us alive. Although the problem is it's still going to stop me from going, like, Indulgence into Goryo, so we can just go to Game 3. So, I don't... Now that we know what they're on, I don't know that the Teferis are necessarily the build. I want the Force Solitude to get their Voidwalkers. Purge hits everything besides Scion. Let's go play the Purges. Or maybe I'll just go back, like, just all in the combo. We'll try this. Just, like, on sideboard. Oh, I forgot we could just YOLO the Aethermage's Touch. So I guess that was correct. Although Griselbrand is, like, a pretty... It had to hit, like, Atraxa into Solitude. But yeah, sure. It wasn't in play, though. You could respond to cast. It was about to be in play. They were about to cast it. I'm passing the turn to them. We know that... Oh, sorry. I forgot that the card you reveal off Blast doesn't go to your hand. I thought that it's like you still draw it. Never mind. No, it was a little bit of an early concede. just an early concession then. Why does this version play less Atraxa, more Griselbrand? You have more 0-mana spells, and you have less like diversity of like card types for Atraxa. Are there too few blue cards for 4 force? No, there's not. We have 15. 15 is fine. Brutality. I guess I'll let this go. They're gonna take the Goryos. They're not ever taking Mending here. No, I felt shocked. Is Emrakul unplayable because it doesn't pitch to elementals? Emrakul's unplayable because you have to like combo all at once with it. Like you can go Goryo's Emrakul with 0-mana discard outlets like Cookbook, but you can't go like the plan of going like Mending Goryo's is too much mana. Yeah, they take Ephemerate. It's interesting. It's very bad for them if I just hit a big creature right now. Ding ding ding. They have an awful lot of 2-minute spells in their Calibrated Blast. They're setting up their Calibrated Blast with Witch's Cottage. They're not playing Calibrated Blast in, you know, the more traditional style. Just take Force, I think, and then prioritize finding a blue card off this Ephemerate. They put Shadow of Mortality and Sign of Draco on top of their library. Pretty cool deck, huh? Alright, so we'll take Grief, Indulgence over Force. Just think blue card though. Yeah, it's an older brew of ours. I think it's a pretty good one though. We like trophied a bunch with it. It was pretty sweet. I think I'll discard the that's my white card for Solitude, but I could like Cottage it back if I needed to. Probably just better discard a Watery Grave. Is Indulgence better than Mending? In your Wish's Cottage mana base it is. It's like a lot easier to cast. Are they? We took 5 damage last round. Yeah, they I promise that's the deck. Like they don't you don't always, you know, sometimes you just have to YOLO the blast, but that's like, you know, it also lets you play spells in your Calibrated Plus deck. That's besides just the big hits. You could do maybe a 3-3 split for like Solitude though. Right. What do I know? What makes Boromir Bessie? Good chance I may just like not play anything this turn, so I can just set up for Shadow Prophecy. Keep this as a white card for Solitude Ephemerate if they're hammer somehow, although they may be something else. Blooded Strand, Windswept Heath, Gardens, like I say, Omnath variant. Okay, so they said that they were watching, they know what I'm on, they're on Elementals. A lot of Elementals today, it's kind of interesting. Not played against Creativity at all day either, which is not super normal. You usually play against that deck like all day, every day. I'm not a big fan of like all these Eldarmer's calls, but they're okay. My opponent having Endurance is definitely good against me here. We're gonna need to find a Grief to answer it. What is the benefit of the touch build over other builds of Goryo's? Getting to play a bunch of Force of Negations, and playing, you know, your combo completely at instant speed. Not saying that this is definitely the best build, but that is the advantage. Speaking of Force of Negation, hopefully we can find one right now. Ding ding ding, and we find a Grief. I think I need to take these two. Maybe I can take a second Shadow Prophecy, but the Grief is pretty good if I draw a land or a black card. Is y'all in the conversation? Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very far away from eliminating any deck at the moment. Okay, did not draw a land nor a black card. I play a Creativity deck on 46 matches of playing the Mirror. I feel like I play against it like more than any other deck lately, but maybe that's just like weird range, you know. Can't you play Force of Negation without the touch? You can, but like the touch like gives you like, it's hard to meet like the density of blue cards necessarily. Not impossible, but just like a little bit trickier. And it's also like a little weird once you like if you're playing Footsteps with the Goryos, you're either playing Footsteps instead or you're just playing 4 Goryos. And I don't love just playing 4 Goryos. I like having some redundancy to your reanimation spell because like you're so in on it, and like just having the 4 copies, like you're gonna lose games to either not finding it or having your first copy get countered or discarded. You lose like a lot of games that way in my experience. I know they have a Solitude. How likely do I think it is that they just like run theirs out? I think not that likely. There's also like a good chance I want to just like YOLO my Aethermage's Touch with Ephemerate up. We're not very likely to hit, so I'm not going to do that unless I like really feel like it's a good moment to do so. Burn is a natural counter to creativity. Is there any brew potential there? I am interested in working on Burn. I need to get like a whiteboard of stuff going on. But yeah, it's again not ruling anything out. We're very early. I'm going to the beach this weekend, so I can like really reflect on the different deck lists. What's good, what's bad, you know. An Excel spreadsheet, maybe. I do now have a testing team too, so I can bounce ideas off them and not just solo my way through everything again. Don't think I'm ephemerating if they binding here. I think I am going to YOLO Aethermage's Touch. I'm kind of feeling it. It's okay if we hit a Grief also, so we have like 8 really good hits. And like 2 more Solitudes to hit something potentially. Maybe never. Maybe maybe not the right line. Who's to say? Who really knows? I thought I could feel it coming. They play Blue-Red Scam. Y'all are like huffing some crazy copium thinking that Blue-Red Scam is like in any way a deck that you could play, I think. Okay, so do I want to trade an Ephemerate for a binding right now? I think I could probably trade Ephemerates for bindings later if I want to, so we'll just probably use our mana a bit more efficiently. When Spike said that about Black-Red Scam? I don't know that I did say that about Black-Red Scam. Maybe I did. But like again, like when you're playing a deck like Blue-Red Scam, it's like almost like a 1-for-1 comparison to like, or like needs to be like a 1-for-1 like in what situations is this better than Murktide? In what situations is this better than Black-Red Scam? And also to like some extent Grixis Shadow. And like your card quality is like so much lower than either build. It's like Subtlety is like the weakest of the incarnations still, and your like blue scam cards are much worse than black or white ones would be. It's like it's not like your card quality is like just super awful in general, but it's just not high enough compared to like other decks in the same archetype. Scam and Creativity or Moto Hammer is getting crushed by both decks. We're talking about the Is It Scam compared to Murktide compared to Creativity. Not talking about anything else. Okay, now Atraxa is hard castable, which is nice. Yeah, the whole attitude is literally Iteration's a good card, but it's also like not very hard to splash Iteration in regular like Black-Red Scam if you feel like you just have to play that card. Yeah, they play Slip Out the Back, and then there's a 1-mana blue like Cloud Shift. Yeah, Essence Flux. Base with the 21 months, okay, thank you. Guess I should probably have left that fetch line uncracked to be able to cottage something back. Very interesting draw. No, my opponent's only used 2 Solitudes. I've used 2 also. 1 land away. Why is it not letting me F6? Probably dead if they ultimate this red. Oh, they unlocked. Wait, what did they bounce? The Reef? They must have another Teferi. Or maybe they don't understand how good Teferi is against us. Looking for lands, looking for discard outlets for this next turn. They played a land? No. Thank you, Petro. So maybe they go Reef plus Teferi. And then we Griselbrand, main phase, draw 7, look for Solitude. I don't know. It's really, really big deal if my opponent just doesn't have another Teferi, but yeah, I guess they like never take this line without it, huh? Isn't Reef traditionally good on the battlefield when casting out the elementals? Yeah, they maybe like just drew this Omnath though. We know they've got like a couple bindings. And a pending. So our Teferis are going to be our anti-endurance card post-board. Play the Reef. Pick up the Solitude. Discard a card for turn. Sadly, or maybe not sadly, but I mean, I can't Ephemerate. I only have 2 white sources. I should have got a Godless Shrine here. Not that the Ephemerate would really do much. But, we could maybe just concede. No, I think it's a little too early to concede, but it's gonna be very difficult to win this one at the very least. It's not letting me F6. I don't know what's happening. Could just right click though. Okay, that's probably we're done. Game 2. Definitely gonna be bringing the Teferis in, stopping any counter magic, stopping any endurance. This is really nice. I think I'm going to go down on Force of Negations, but not down too many copies. Like, I think 3 is probably a pretty good number. Then I think you're going to trim a Mending, and then, like, the 4th Solitude pretty often in this matchup. Seems fine. Yeah, maybe do change them. I'm pressing 6, not F6, which should be the shortcut. Maybe it's not. Has been. I don't know. I didn't change anything. Yeah, Elish Norn is still a good card. Just haven't... been playing a lot of different stuff. I think I've played like no more than like 1, maybe 2 leagues with a couple decks this week, but been all over the place. What decks are for bindings? You want binding against Murktide mostly. Also, any deck with Leyline in the Void, you're going to consider bringing it in. But Murktide is the main matchup. You'll bring it in against like over your Solitudes against Control. You bring them in. I think. I don't think that this is a matchup for it. It's like when you're sideboarding with these kind of decks, in my experience, you really just want to ask yourself the question, what kind of graveyard hate does my opponent have? And so like in this matchup, my opponent's graveyard hate is mostly just going to be endurance. In that case, you want to fight those endurances with Teferi, Time Raveler, and Grief. And like Leyline Binding, not hitting Rest in Peace, not hitting like any important lock piece besides Teferi is like, it's just not the kind of game plan that I recommend playing. I recommend finding a game plan around their graveyard hate and then overpowering their other cards with your combo. Okay, very happy to find lands here. Wow, what a draw. Okay, so now that I have Goryo's instead of Aethermage's Touch, I think we're just going to take the turn to Teferi. This is, again, going to be how we're going to fight the possibility of an Endurance, and I'll plus so they can't go Red and 6 ping, or bolt the Teferi into, or Fury the Teferi into Endurance. And I like that I can force their own copy of Teferi Time Raveler here. Not that I would necessarily need to. Yeah, I could just let that resolve. Not really sure what punishes me. We'll force this. Past turn I have a Binding the 6. I don't know why. It's not working. Gen Saga on test list. It's probably not very high on the test list, to be honest, but not completely off it either, I guess. I think an Ephemerate would be cool. Could Ephemerate the Griselbrand and the... or finding 2 Ephemerates that we would need to first, also. First and second. Oh, wow. 3! Too many Ephemerates. Take some back deck. Okay, I'm holding control. I'm a bit worried that I won't get priority, so I'm just going to do this now. Or maybe it's a good time to test it. Well, their hand does nothing. Draw could want. Let's think on the draw. I think I'm going to play the 4th copy of this over. Although seeing Flusterstorm makes me maybe just not want to play any forces. I mean, still hit Teferi, which is pretty important. That's not then. Could you sideboard subtleties for Endurance and Teferi? Well, you have enough answers to those cards, I think, already, because you can Binding Teferi, you can Grief Teferi, you can Force Teferi, and you have enough answers to Endurance with Grief and with your Teferis. So it's just like, I think you have to keep this hand. It's just so hard to mulligan Indulgence, Goryo's, Griselbrand ever. So it's just like why why are we sideboarding a Subtlety when that card is like just kind of weak and like fine against Titan, I suppose, but I don't know. I just don't like that card very much. I'd prefer not to play it if I could. Okay, yeah, let's Grief this turn. I'll be doing a YouTube video talking about the One Ring cards from One Ring that I like. I guess if I take the Solitude and they slam Teferi, we're in pretty good shape. If they don't draw another Solitude. I think instead I should just take the Teferi and then, you know, put them in a spot where they're like removing the Griselbrand by just get to draw a ton of cards, you know. It's like really bad if I take the Solitude and they just like wait a turn on the Teferi and go Teferi with Binding up. We're getting Thoughtseize bugged. Okay, getting Risen Reefed. So yeah, if their top two cards like Risen Reef, Endurance could be, it's not. So we know we're not getting Endurance. We know that we can, for sure, put a Griselbrand into play as long as I don't mess up and not get Watery Grave. Mission accomplished on putting a Watery Grave into play. Alright, I'm gonna draw it now. I was definitely wanting to draw a White Source sooner. It looks like we're only gonna get 7 cards. Could have attacked first, but there's still Solituded, so I don't know. I don't think there's really a great window. They pitched Binding over Omnath. Probably fine. Wait to go up to 14, draw 7. Okay, so I guess we're gonna play Verdant Catacombs, Solitude, Ephemerate. On their turn, discard Atraxa, Griselbrand, and then one more card on our end step, which will probably be second Shadow Prophecy. I don't think we really need second Shadow Prophecy this game. I'll have to discard 4. Okay, then second Cottage. Yeah, so their hand is Fury, Misty Rainforest. Wait, they need to play the Misty. So Fury, Omnath, Mystery card. What's one deck I never play in paper? I always wonder if it was 12 Kree. There's never a deck that I wouldn't play in paper because of complexity issues. I build the complex decks. I can play the complex decks in paper. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I want to do this now so they don't get the trigger, and I can just I missed it on 3 life from the attack, but that's all right. Just rebound and kill the Omnath. Although this is worse if they red card Fury me, I suppose. They just don't have that many. Surely they don't have that many red cards, although we did get got. They only have 1 card in their hand. It's a weird spot. So I like that now I have Force of Negation up. My life total's kind of low, but I also probably get to block this Omnath with the Griselbrand. The forces are so good in this deck. You Griselbrand next turn, do you not? I'm gonna try to. The last card is like Flusterstorm. I guess they would have attacked, right? So probably not. Draw 7. 3 first. And then I think we just Ephemerate here, so we can save this other Ephemerate for Atraxa. Yeah, I guess I could have drawn on my turn to try to Goryo's the Atraxa, huh? We're fine, we're fine. Game is super over. Not really holding up Force though. We are. We just draw a blue card off Griselbrand. I just want to be able to cast I want to be able to cast Ephemerate too. Why is Aethermage's Touch better than the 4-mana reanimating spell or Footsteps? There's a lot of different reasons. Like it pitches to Force and Solitude over like either of the black cards. It plays completely at instant speed over Footsteps. It works well with the Cottage mana base, and it can also like beat Graveyard Hate sometimes, which is relevant in your Reanimator deck. Yeah, just like a lot of little things. You can keep this one. No deck list. Should have a deck list. Oh. Oops. I thought I changed it. Yeah. The Force of Negation tech I think is really exciting. I've had this like ready to go for a while. I don't know why I never streamed with it, honestly. Oh, my keyboard is dead. Okay, my keyboard is dead. That's why the deck list didn't go in. I typed it in. I guess I need to charge it. It's wireless. It's like, what? What is happening? Surely I have a USB-C cord somewhere. No, I think I took it down. Got one. Yeah, I don't really like this new keyboard, honestly, very much. Oh, I just noticed we're up against Jabber, who also qualified. And also, hello, Yama. I beat Jabberwocky in the finals of PTQ one time. Okay, so now I can go... Okay, but I didn't copy and paste. Is it just more Goryos? No, Scalding Tarn means creativity. Okay, so let's go Shadow Prophecy here. There's a chance that we want to force, although it's like not super likely that we force. Okay, so we'll definitely take Aethermage's Touch. We can take both touches. Ding ding ding. Okay, did not find a Grief yet. I did find another Ephemerate. Grief would be really nice to find. I think I can afford to dig for one also. I can also lift Solitude Ephemerate if I really just never find one. Do you find one? Okay, we'll take Bolt and Binding. Maybe we'll main phase Solitude the token also, just to use card. You like 0 mana spells, kid? How do you feel about 0 mana spells? Double Force of Negation up. Although maybe I should have kept another touch over a second Cottage. Alright, I know their hands, so I'm just gonna force this. What's the best hate for all the scam cards? The best way to beat like Fury, Grief, Solitude is just not play any spells at all. Just have a deck of all lands. Like Fury is bad against all lands, Solitude is bad against all lands, Grief is bad against all lands. They like basically do nothing. Alright, so I think we bring in Teferi in this matchup. It's nice that Teferi can answer Leyline if they have Leyline, without needing to like bring in Binding, which I kind of don't really want to. I do want to trim the 4th Solitude, 2nd Mending, and then we can trim like 2nd Aethermage's Touch if we want. It's very fine. Or 3rd Aethermage's Touch rather. Yeah, so Timeless Sodas. The touches haven't felt needed, so that's great. IMO. I mean, we're undefeated, and we've cast Aethermage's Touch to reanimate creatures. Like we won casting a touch last game. I don't know. We've also played a lot of Aethermage's Touch. Like I like the tech. I also think that this version with Force of Negation does not work without the Aethermage's Touches. I don't think you can get up to. Or I guess you can play enough blue cards if you just play more Mendings, maybe. But I also think you need redundancy to Goryos and all the builds. Like obviously, like Touch is not as good as Goryos, but you're so in on Goryos, having some redundancy is really important. Also, like the Cottages are nice with Grief and Solitude. Like there's a little bit of equity there, but your mana is also worse for sure. don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on, but a lot of stuff going on. It can also, I think, like sometimes you like you end up pitching your Aethermage's Touch and you're like, oh, this doesn't seem good, but when you compare it to like it being in that spot a Footsteps of the Goryo, which is like what you'd be playing instead, is Footsteps of the Goryo, probably a couple copies. It's better. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I like to make fun of pitches to X or Y card arguments, they are really relevant in this deck. What's on the mold to 4? Molds to 3. Okay, well, haven't seen that in a while. I mean, if you keep the fetch land red in 6. Dude, mold to 3 Dwarven Mine, wow. Yeah, but yeah, I feel like we're definitely getting rid in 6. Do you think Recto Sack and a maybe my opponent's mulliganing really aggressively for Leyline, actually. That could definitely be like what was going on there. Alright, let's take a turn off to Teferi. Very good mold to 3. It's like my opponent's like already like back up to 5, basically. Recto Sack and Modern is viable tournament deck. Yeah, I think so. Like I played it in one paper tournament. I lost in the finals of a RCQ with it. I like the deck. I would recommend it. When Scales is like the first PT deck we tested. We'll play some more of it too. Sure. I may need to just Solitude Ephemerate for a threat against Ren this turn. Like, not quite there. Okay, I guess I don't want to force this. The backup Teferi in my hand. Do you have Asmogoryos unless it thinks to try it? I mean, it's on the radar. I do like that deck. I think it's probably not super likely I choose to play it, but we're still, we're testing everything. Everything is permitted. Nothing is off limits right now. I think I'll take a Tainted Indulgence force here. We do need to go Solitude Ephemerate, which is so sad. Mold to 3, baby. Belcher time? Yeah, unironically. Sphinx 22, Legionnaire with the 19, thank y'all. How does Goblins line up? Goblins is quietly really good too. We'll test it at some point. I don't know if the Tyvar build or like non-Tyvar is better either. Let's let that go. Combo Goblins, yeah, I mean, there's I guess theoretically other builds, but when someone says Goblins in Modern, assume combo until told otherwise, I guess. Would be my recommendation. Dude, we could lose to the Mold of 3. Can't hardcast this with one extra land, though. Funny game. I think it might be slightly better to pass there, not use Tainted. I disagree, but whatever. We just need to get something going, you know what I mean? We have the mana available. I'm happy enough to use it there. But Nobly has no more Dwarven Mines. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. I'm just gonna slam this. Candle, 5 months, thank you. Okay, so we can go take Delta, Aethermage's Touch. And then in my opponent's draw step, I can Grief them. Then untap and hardcast Atraxa. Also, I can like randomly hit like Griselbrand or Atraxa, but yeah, hold to 3. Whatever the Fecundity Goblins. Fecundity Goblins, in my opinion, experience was never a good deck. It was always a cool deck, though. Wow. Spell Pierce iteration. Mold to 3. Exiles another copy of Verdant 6, so they didn't find like a Fable, which would have been pretty nuts. He mold to 3 my opponent. Does play the second Ren. Thinks about pinging me, I think. I can't really risk any interaction, so let's grief first. Not that they're very likely to have anything. Get a backup, Atraxa, land. Do I have another Godless Shrine? I do. Ephemerate. What's nice is if my opponent top decks creativity, I can try to Ephemerate into Force blue card. Although I guess it's actually kind of hard for me to hit Force blue card because most of my blue cards at this point are... Actually, all of my blue cards are instants. Hit a Solitude, though. Teferi and Atraxa blue. I have no more Teferis and no more Atraxas. I do not have more blue cards. I have no more Teferis and I have no more Atraxas. Oh, but I have a blue card in hand. I have a blue card in hand. I have them in hand. Right. Duh. They're in the hand. Okay, you're right. I somehow didn't recognize that. I don't know why. I just realized there were no more blue cards I could hit. But they're I don't need to hit them. They're already there. It's funny. Gotta be trolling. You would think, right? You would think. Could be more relevant to attack with the Atraxa than to Ephemerate. I think I'm going to Ephemerate instead. Yeah, pretty reasonable chance we get to do this. Griselbrand, Indulgence, Solitude, land. Although, am I drawing a card with Indulgence? I have 1, 5, 3, 2... Oh no, I'm drawing a card. I didn't get the Indulgence. I must have misclicked. Oh my god, I'm just finding the way to lose the game, huh? I guess I just hardcast this stupid Griselbrand. I should have griefed first, but I'm just gonna grief now. Okay, funny game. Clicked on 2 creatures. Yeah, I mean, I meant to get the Tainted Indulgence because I thought I was going to be discarding Griselbrand, Cottage, and get back. Force would have been, like, something would have been good for sure. I would have taken something. It's okay, we only have 1 Force left in the deck and it's on the bottom. Oh my gosh, are we going to lose this game? How many Ephemerates do we have? 2. Funny game, funny match. Clicking the second creature messed it up. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a misclick. Magic Online stuff. Oh, and then I know my I know I have not a Force in the bottom, so I think I just want to like Solitude my own Griselbrand here after drawing. I don't think my opponent's gonna have bolt. Oh, there. I played this game so bad. Brain rot, brain fried. Although my opponent does, you know, only have a couple of mystery cards. Surprised that they have this many bolts full board, actually. They just got looted away. Has double binding. It's kind of unreal. Jabberwocky's so fucking good. I only have 15 cards in my library also, somehow. Okay, how much mana do I have if I play the Swamp? I don't have any more Cottages in the deck. 9 mana. Still a bunch of Goryos in the deck. I don't have that many Ephemerates left, though. I think we Mending first. This gives me 2 life to, like, maybe draw with Griselbrand. How many Ephemerates do I have? I have 2 Ephemerates left. We find 1. 5 cards left in our library only. I only have one blue card in my hand. Oh, I have this, the Aethermage's Touch. I'm trying to think if I ever... I think that I want to be able to try to Indulgence into Force. I should be able to do. Like, although I guess I can't remember. Is Atraxa a random order? Okay. Random order. Okay, so there is a Force in the bottom 5, and so I have to find it off the Indulgence if I need it, right? Was it a risky draw? Do we know the last of them? I mean, not really. 5 is like plenty. We already put ourselves in a spot where we were dead to bolt this game. And drawing dead, I think theoretically we can find... I guess there's no way... No, we can't haste another Atraxa at them. Shadow Prophecy... Oh yeah, we could Prophecy into Force for sure. There's only a 5. But we die. No, we die though. We die because the rest of the cards go to the yard. Hardcast an Archon. Force doesn't stop. But we can Aethermage's Touch. I don't know if I have any creatures left. I can check. 1 grief, 2 grief, 3 grief, 4. 1 salt. I set it out of Solitude, right? So 1, 2, 3 Solitude's gone. Wait. 1 Solitude in Graveyard. 1 Solitude in Exile. Can we let it resolve in Goryo's in combat? We can, but they get to block, right, is the problem. Do I have any Teferis left? I have a Teferi left also, right? No, I don't have a Teferi left. No, the cards go on the bottom. I'm just trying to think, do I want to Solitude the... Do I want to Solitude the Archon? I think I have to... Or do I want to let them jump with it? No, the Reflection doesn't have haste. I should have one more Solitude in the deck. Yeah, so let's let the trigger happen. No! An awesome game. I wish I played in any way better. It's not completely over, though. I think we're dead. They can block with the Archon. But yeah, punished for not griefing last turn. Although... I think they drew, like, they drew that off of their Triome, you know. Could be wrong about that. Okay, so do I have any Ephemerates left? I have 1, 2... No, I have no Ephemerates left. So I think it makes more sense to let them... We need the Tainted and respond to the Ephemerate trigger. So to draw the Solitude. Can't we just cast Solitude attack for game? No, because they gain 6 life. A fun game. I think I'm just going to be going Grief, Goryo, Solitude. Oh, I'm 1 mana short, aren't I? No, we're not main decking bindings. I have no bindings in the deck at the moment. Double Grief, yeah, probably. Make them jump block with the Archon. There's no Teferis left, so hoping for Teferi doesn't seem like a great line. Yeah, if there was a Teferi left, it'd be a lot easier, but there's none left. What a game. I still have game 3 to play also. Played this game pretty bad. So I think I kind of underestimated the Molda 3 a little bit. Do I have any Goryo's Vengeances left? I think I have 1 Goryo's left in the deck, actually. Yeah, I have 1 more. Which I can draw into next turn. I can Shadow Prophecy in to guarantee it. So maybe I was... Well, I know it's the only way I get 2 creatures in play. What a game. No, my opponent Molda 3. Obviously the Red and 6 player is the one who's in this game on the Molda 3. We didn't pitch into Grief early, did we? Okay, there's 1 in Exile. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, we did pitch it. Never mind. There's not 1. Do you have any more Aethermage's touches? I think no. Also, I think we're dead. Yeah, like honestly, like we win this game if I don't misclick on the Atraxa. That's a big part of this. Exile this, double block here, take 3, go to 3. Alright, game 3. Buck's getting pretty dicey. I'll be okay. Boros Legends Cup. Can we get a refund on the deck tag? It's a pretty bad time for deck tag, sorry. Mod confirm when they refund it. Wow, that was game 2. You're a good Tumber, it's fine, just a very tense match. We'll get you later. I don't think I want any bindings. It's just really not the angle of attack, right? Wild game. Do we not have any Goryos left? No, we used all 4 Goryos. No, we had nothing left. Nothing left. Again, if I didn't misclick on the Atraxa trigger, we would have won, but could have played very, very well. Maybe 1 or 2 bindings is fine. It's just like, this is not the kind of attitude I think you should have when you play Goryos. X and Y card would be fine. The list is very tight. You're like a combo deck. It's very hard to sideboard. And it's hard to be like, oh, I'll play 1 or 2 over, like over what is just such a difficult question to answer. It's not very easy to like just add 1 or 2 bindings in a deck like this. Did any mod refund the deck tech? Did I bring in Fortune against creativity as Bant Blink? Yeah, they're a Lightning Bolt deck. So my opponent taps out for Fable, which I don't think is particularly likely. Do I hardcast Force? I think I'm just going to actually cast the Shadow Prophecy now, not get Spell Pierced. So we'll take blue card, Grief. Yeah. The Prophecies are so good. Okay, thank you, Sorgath, for confirming. I'm down 5 minutes on the clock. Jabber's so good. Yeah, no turn 2 right on 6. Easy game. Okay, never forcing this. Exiles Foothills. Okay, so we're going to probably start our turn off with Grief. Would be cool to not draw another black card or another blue card. To have, you know... I guess we don't really need it for the Force, though. Although, we'll see what their hand is. They're going to discard. Just drew a land. Let's start off by Grief, pitch, Tainted Indulgence. No Spell Pierce. Also, my opponent shouldn't be able to cast this binding here. There's like no Temple Garden over there. That being said, I think we're still just taking the 1 mana relevant spell. And then I should go... Goryo's now. There's a chance I'm ephemerating this Grief. Like, I'm definitely ephemerating Grief if I find Ephemerate right now, okay. Which I do. And I take the, Teferi. Attack for 7. Then Ephemerate with, the lockup, basically. Force of Negation lock. GG. Match. Very cool match. 3-0. Arctide worse than Scam. Okay, let's go for Grief. Nice. Surge of Salvation. Just take Sentinel, Stoneforge, I think. If they want to surge the extra Grief trigger, that's fine. It's just like we're taking it. Would I expect to see a lot of graveyard hate at the tour? I don't know. Not a ton, honestly. And like the main deck playing graveyard hate is Scam. The Scam matchup's really bad for this deck, though. Do you change your testing approach when playing League since you can't reflect your anticipated metagame? I mean, a little bit, but it's more like you just kind of try to factor your League experiences a little bit differently. Not sure if I'm articulating well. It's like when you play and like you lose against Mono Blue Tron in the leagues, this is not something you really think about very much. It's like, you know, you are not going to play against Mono Blue Tron at the PT. This is just not This is not a deck that you need to like worry about. When you are playing against like the more tier 1 decks, like this is kind of like something you need to evaluate. Also when you're playing against like the worst decks and you're losing, but you're losing because your build is like, you're like, because of consistency issues, that's something you need to take into factor, right? But not really so much like, I have a bad mono Blutron matchup, you know. Okay, it may seem weird to not side in Stony against Hammer, but Stony is for like Murktide and decks that just play artifacts as graveyard hate. So we're going to be bringing in the Bindings and the Endings because this is going to be their Sanctifiers, and also like just is kind of good against their deck, you know. We're going to cut the Forces. I think it's the first time we've cut Forces all league. Kind of done to cut the Grief number 4, and then either Aethermage just touched Solitude is kind of good. Mending. 51, 17 months. Thank you. Yeah, don't pay for the Sentinel trigger there. You wanna hit Ephemerate. Yeah, no matter what, always a bad Tron matchup. Nothing to do. Stony for Merc, because they're going to be bringing in Unlicensed Hearse, Relic of Progenitus. So like Stony Silence against decks like Murktide, like Obosh, usually says 2 mana, you have no graveyard hate this game. And it does also stop Bobble, it does also stop Ragavan Treasures, but that's why you bring them in. This is not like Stony Silence is not like in here because there's a lot of artifacts in the metagame. It's here to specifically stop artifact-based graveyard hate. Why I think Murktide has such a low win rate is it because it's very popular and an experienced pilot, or is it genuinely that bad? I mean, it's just like the Jund, you know, like this is almost like every constructed format. There's like a established tier mid-range deck that the rest of the format is warped around and like play to beat, you know. Like, you could have a good win rate with Murktide. Murktide does not have a bad win rate, I think, because of players. Like, obviously, like, there are bad players in any archetype, but Murktide is also, like, pretty simple, like, to, like, sequence proficiently. Obviously, some people still fuck it up, but it's not, it's not rocket science, Murktide. But yeah, I think it's just, like, the metagame is, like, very ready to beat it, and also, like, opposing players have a ton of experience playing against Murktide. They know exactly what they need to do against it. They know what to play around. Lucy, come here, Lucy. It's just like a mid-range deck with like below 50% win rate, just like Rakdos mid-range and Pioneer. Way more popular than it is good. Lucy, come here. How much worse do you think the persist version would be for the Force build? Losing like any number of Atraxa is interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure. You can play Muldrifter in the persist version. Okay, we'll definitely keep Solitude Ephemerate against Hammer. Lucy, do you not want to hang out? What are you doing that you don't want to hang out with me, huh? What are you so busy doing? Oh, sorry, Lucy. Spike says Murktide's easy. We point out the small mistakes Murktide players make against them. I guess it's just because I just don't think that those mistakes are that easy to make. You know what I mean? But maybe they are easier to make than I think. But I just feel like Murktide is like, you have some interesting decisions, but like your early game like your first 3 turns once you know to play the deck should like almost never really have too many decisions. I don't know. They are decisions, but it's like there's just almost always like a clear line, maybe. So that would be 2 months. Thank you. Maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know. Deck's fine. Deck's totally fine. Murktide is definitely the Rakdos mid-range and Pioneer. Murktide is the same thing. Like below 50% win rate, fine deck. It's like always a fine deck choice. Probably never the best deck choice. The experts have a high win rate with it, of course. I remember Spike talking about Murktide being easy, opponent doing stuff like conniving post-combat. Yeah, I remember that too, but it's like... it doesn't really, like, I think, disprove my points. I don't know. Like, that kind of stuff should be, like, almost no player should be doing that. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe that happens all the time. Opponent is, deep in the tank here. I'm not sure if I'm going to save if I'm going to, Ephemerate Grief turn 1. I probably will. Save the Solitude. The Grief gets a lot worse if we don't use it turn 1. And I guess I'm pitching Atraxa. Hammer, Stoneforge, Saga. I guess I take Hammer, and then I can rebound the Grief on whatever they tutor the Stoneforge with. Very weird. My thoughts on Breach's position in the metagame. We played some, like, combo breach without Saga yesterday. It was pretty good. Wasn't like mind blowing or anything, but I like the deck, and I think that breach is like a little underrepresented, a little underplayed. There's not a ton of graveyard hate at the moment, which like probably is good for breach. And wait, is this? Oh, I thought this was match 5. I don't know. It seems fine. Okay, so did they draw Surge of Salvation? I think combo's better than Fatal Breach. I don't know. I think it's like very close. I don't think that it's honestly. I think it's like relatively few percentage points either direction how you build the deck, and so I can't really answer that question until after I get some more testing in. But it's very close no matter how you build it. I think that like we need to play more like fair breach. Like I had a build that I liked that was playing just like 2 Manamorphose and 1 Grape Shot. And so like some games like you just you just get 2 Channelers and Manamorphose, you combo you deal enough damage with Grape Shot to breach them or to kill them, and then your deck is just like good blue-red cards plus 2 Manamorphoses and 1 Grape Shot. And so this is kind of like, and then this kind of build has like been done plenty of times. Like Benton was playing good blue-red cards with like 1 copy of Can't Stay Away, and you had some like ways you could generate mana with that. I think I'd rather not register Can't Stay Away, but there's lots of ways to play that deck too. Is the best Ragavan deck right now. I mean, I think I would probably prefer to register Scam over Murktide at the moment, but not by a lot. And I think I'd rather register both over Grixis Shadow, although I don't hate Grixis Shadow. The opponent is deciding to really take their time. Yeah, the new blue-red Scam deck, I haven't seen it in action, I guess, but boy does it seem like your card quality, like, it takes a nosedive compared to other Ragavan decks. Sagavan, yeah, it's maybe a little underrated, but... No, Scales is a consideration. Scales is definitely a consideration. I really don't like the creativity matchup very much, though, and I don't know that there's really a lot of solving that matchup. And so it's going to be tough to, like, pick a deck that I feel like is really bad against creativity. How does your list compare to Mox Goryo's? Feeble seems like perfect fit in this deck, but Force has been insane. Yeah, I mean, we're just not splashing red or playing red, and like comparing to that list and the other builds, like we're making like concessions to play Force. Like we're more in on Griselbrand than Atraxa. We're not main decking Leyline Binding, but I agree that Force of Negation the main is nuts. It's something I feel like you're very incentivized to do here. Celestial Scales gives you better sideboard stuff. I mean, I guess, like, there's not, like, really, like, a lot of white cards. Like, you get, like, holding up mana reactively in Scales is not something I like to do. I think I really like to be able to be all proactive all the time, especially, like, if we're talking about protection spells in general. Welding Jar is such a good protection spell, being a 0 mana artifact. Obviously, it doesn't help against binding and ending, but, like, the presence of Welding Jar makes you want protection spells less if we're talking about protection spells, and you don't want to play Rest in Peace on your sideboard of Scales. You never play Rest in Peace. I don't know. Like Green-White Scales rebukes in the sideboard, the matchup gets much better. It doesn't. Or so it may be a little bit better. Okay, just like small. If you're going to splash for counterspells in Scales, you should not play Metallic Rebuke. Stop registering Metallic Rebuke in 2023. Just fucking play Spell Piercer, Flusterstorm. I'm begging you. You just don't always have 2 artifacts untapped to tap. Play Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm. Those cards are always 1 mana counterspells in these matchups. Metallic Rebuke is sometimes a 1 mana counterspell. So this is something I'm pretty passionate about. Not registering Metallic Rebuke, but yeah, you could play some counterspells. That could be a thing to do. Losing all focus in this game, of course. Moonlight, you can't play Moonlight in Scales. You're just not a deck that can hold up 2 mana. Also, like, playing Janeth Magistrate doesn't really matter when you can play Soulless Jailer instead. You can play Chalice. Surge is fine, but I just play Welding Jar instead of splashing. But like Scales is just not a deck that can hold up 2 mana. Like our artifact players just think, oh, I'm an artifact deck. I have to play Metallic Rebuke as my counterspell of choice. I just can't play another counterspell. But you can. You could just play the normal counterspells, and they're way better. Yeah, it's also so easy to read when you have it because you like don't attack with a creature, and also you don't have to attack with a creature, or you have to not attack with creatures sometimes. Please don't register Rebuke. Blessing has been solid. Yeah, Tomio's Blessing's okay. But again, to me, especially when you have access to Welding Jar, I just don't think you're supposed to like try to be a reactive deck. Opponent, please take a game action, please. Please. Yeah, Rebuke is better in Affinity, of course, but still, like, even then, it's like, the matchups you're bringing it in, Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce, like, they typically get the job done better, even with these considerations, in my experience. Could grief them here. I don't think I'm going to. Yeah, of course, like, we get deck techs going into game 3 low on time against Jabberwocky. No deck techs ever during games like this. People just leave. Although, I don't know. Who was it that had the deck tech last round? I could do that one for free if they're still here. They have to still be here. I'll check your chat history. Rebuke is sided against Yogg. Why do you sided in Rebuke against Yogg as Scales? Or as Affinity? Because that matchup is, like, pretty good for you, I think. And I would just play any number of like Pithing Needles or Grafdigger's Cages instead. That's not enough. That is the Yawgmoth matchup is not enough reason to play Rebuke over Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce. So you have to have more than that. For Yogg and Titan, it's also not very good against Titan, I think. Like to me, like I'm not even like really wanting to have counterspells in those matchups very much. Like against Titan, like I'm really in on Haywire Mites or like Force of Vigor. Force of Vigor has been really good for me. And against Titan, like, you know, your Needles and your Ballistas are really your plan. Yawgmoth players, both matchups are good. Scales and Affinity. Yeah, maybe I'm like underestimating their Force of Vigor as post board, but I think if you in an open decklist tournament, I would prefer Scales against Yawgmoth because you know to like mulligan to a Ballista hand game 1, and then in sideboard games you have access to like, you know, efficient hate cards also. I don't know. If this was like match 1 in the league, I would have conceded by now. Just because how can I pot? This is just so egregiously slow. But you know we're 3-0 up a game, so we're here. We're trapped. I'm gonna pitch that Atraxa. Oh, they had a Stoneforge Mystery card. Did I play against Toronto Combat RC? I didn't. I hear that matchup's not very good for green, but I played against it like one time in testing and like never at the RC, so I don't really have feedback. 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. So we get to just draw 2 here. I think I'd rather take the turn to ending here. I take in Lucy and Athena to the beach? No, and will not be this weekend either. Athena would hate. I think Lucy would really like the beach, and Athena would hate it. She doesn't like water, and she doesn't like being dirty. So I think she would hate sand. And it'd be pretty hot for her too. She's like a little, you know. Athena's a high maintenance dog. Lucy's very low maintenance. Mystery card second giver is pretty scary. And I can't discard. Oh no, we're gonna lose this game. I can't discard the Griselbrand because of Indulgence. I have no favorite dogs. I only have. Yeah, kind of. Maybe we could do okay in the race. I don't know. Joe Mending. I think I trimmed a Mending. I only have 1 Mending in the deck. Yeah, I need a chart, of course. They still have Cauldron in the deck, I guess. They do have Cauldron in the deck. Okay, let's go to game 3. Hopefully we, I don't know. Like, I hope my opponent shows up for game 3. Yeah, we could have, if we waited to draw a Cottage, maybe we actually can unenable Indulgence sometimes. It's kind of funny. Why no Stony Silence? So Stony Silence is here against decks that play artifact-based graveyard hate. You could play like 1 Stony Silence in this matchup. It would be okay. But I think it's better to like not. In my experience, once you start bringing in like fair like 1-for-1 cards, that don't help your combo game plan, and don't hate your opponent's graveyard, hate your deck becomes worse. Like I think that in whenever I play this deck in the past, I like to have like all of my cards either be combo cards or good against my opponent's graveyard hate post board. And like no like obviously, like with the exception of like if I'm playing against like hardened scales or regular affinity, I'll play or Tron, I'll play the Stony Silence, but Stony's like kind of mid against Hammer. Okay, my opponent is playing at a somewhat reasonable pace now, which is sick. We love to see it. I think we'll just pending here. Get my domain. Like I could maybe go like Prophecy plus Binding next turn. Yeah, Temporary Lockdown is an option for sure. I haven't played much with it. Could be good. It's bad. I mean, I've got answers for this, which is nice, but they get to exile my Atraxa. Alright, so we'll go main phase Binding to play around Protection Spell. And then Shadow Prophecy on their end of turn, probably. Is there consideration for so Atraxa is better than Griselbrand if you have a good distribution of card types. But in this build, your distribution of card types isn't like amazing, and let's take Ephemerate Shadow Prophecy. You can go for like Solitude Ephemerate game plan here against these constructs. So like that's a little bit of an issue, right? The distribution of card types. You really only have creatures, instants, lands in the main deck. You get more types post board, but you also have an issue. You also have the issue of Griselbrand being better with Force of Negation and Solitude and Grief in your deck. You just draw a ton of 0 mana spells. So I'm liking the 3-2 split in this build, but there's a lot of different directions you can go here. And like one thing that's kind of like also like complicates things is that I think that there's a really good chance that it's better to main deck Leyline Binding and sideboard Force of Negation. It's possible that build is better than this build. I'm not sure. And so if that's the case, like maybe you do 3 Atraxa, 2 Griselbrand. Maybe you still, don't. I don't know. It's tough. Okay, so Griselbrand in the yard for sure. I think I'll just take Ephemerate Leyline Binding, and I probably pitch the Prismatic Ending. Gonna take 4 here. It's okay though. Maybe I could exile this and just like let them equip, let them gain a ton of life. Yeah, Prophecy first for like what card we're pitching to Solitude. Could both non-76 creatures co-pound on a rebound. I think that's fine, but that's fine. But then they still have a thing. They still have the hammer equipped to the other construct, which is like a little less fine. They got no cards in their hand. Ephemerate is a pretty messed up card. So happy my opponent stopped playing. So slow, also. Okay, let's get the trophy prediction going. My opponent kept 7. This hand would be a lot better if it was a 7-card hand, but I think we still keep on 6. We'll put back a Cottage, I guess. Netic with the 6 months. Thank you, thank you. What's the bad matchup? Linear, combo, and burn. Scam is the worst matchup. Burn is actually kind of fine. It's like you can gain a lot of life in this deck, and you have a lot of like cheap interaction for their stuff. Yes, Scam, in my experience, Scam is the worst matchup, and it's like not even that close. Hammer's pretty good matchup. We just beat Hammer last round, although our hand doesn't really do anything, so could lose. Also, Titan in the current meta. I mean, not a lot has changed about the current meta for Titan. It's still an okay deck to play. It's like pretty good if you are a 5-head big brain Titan master, and if you're not an absolute master of the deck, I would not recommend it for a tournament. Am I treating the stream deck building differently in any way for the PT testing? Yeah, I haven't played. This is like the longest I've gone without playing a brew on stream and forever. I don't know. I don't know the last time I played a brew was. I also do some brewing, but I am like there's like probably close to 30 decks I could consider playing at the PT. Obviously a lot of them more seriously than others, but close to 30, and so I've got to like narrow it down and play a lot of them. Elements with this, so yeah, that deck's pretty good. We'll play some of that next week, I think. These are brews, yeah, but they're old brews. This is the longest I've gone without playing, old brews. Or new brews, rather. I like Shadow Prophecy, didn't think it was strong enough for Modern. Is it the best 2-drop draw spell? So what's really cool about Shadow Prophecy in this deck is, like, you can get 2 cards that you need, and you can also, like, bin a Griselbrand or bin a creature in the graveyard to find later. It takes 5. It is the best, like, draw spell for this deck. I know it's, maybe unobvious, but it's a card I like a lot. This is also like a Witch's Cottage deck that is interested in getting domain for Leyline Binding, so like the cost of getting the domain is not as high as it might be for another shell, maybe. Yeah, I think we'll play some Boros Stoneblade next week. So there's not going to be a stream tomorrow, by the way. I'm going to go to the beach with Esther and some friends this weekend, and I'll stare right into the sun and try to have the sun tell me what deck to play at the Pro Tour. I'm going to come back. I'm going to try not to get sunburned. I'm going to try so hard not to get sunburned, but I will be sunburned on Monday. No shock to have Force up. I can try to Shadow Prophecy for a blue card. Which I would do even if my opponent cast a hammer this turn. I would Shadow Prophecy, look for a blue card. Is record consideration? Yeah, we played it today. I need to test the creativity matchup really extensively. With that one, I need to work on some sideboard plans and stuff, and some like different main deck builds. But in my experience, I always liked Reclamation against creativity, which makes it a contender. I don't mind the matchup against Rhinos. I don't mind the matchup against Scam so much. It is bad against Murktide. It's also not great against Scam. How is this deck against creativity? This deck is actually weirdly okay against creativity. Your curve's lower. Your Force of Negation deck against creativity is really a big deal. You blank a lot of their like lightning bolts and stuff. Beat it once this league. Ban Teamer or 4-color. Never banned. Sometimes Teamer, sometimes 4-color. Never banned. The banned Reclamation gamers literally are all just like, I don't want to buy Ren and 6s, which is fine. But like that's like also like exclusively my experience seeing like Bant Reclamation gamers. They're like all just like, I'm not gonna buy Ren and 6s, which is fine. But it's not. But Ren and 6 is like such a crucial card for the archetype. Okay, so let's take Solitude for sure, Godless Shrine, and then another Goryo's is probably correct. Discard this Griselbrand to hand size. And then I think we're going to be griefing at plus Ephemerate, but we might as well do that after we attack. I always feel like 4-color wreck with 3 fairies is the way to go. I've like really never felt that way, but okay, you can feel that way. I need to test it more. We'll test it more next week. Is this the same hammer opponent? Like, what is up with these hammer players? They're just like just asleep at the wheel. Just 30 seconds every game action. Guess I should agree first. Atraxa, Solitude, Ephemerate. Choose this. Don't choose this. Okay. Not getting messed up by that again. Yeah, I mean, I just clicked on the Atraxa instead of the... whatever. I don't remember. Not on purpose, I promise. Trading seems fine. It seems not as good to me, but whatever. Okay, so I think we still go to discard. Griselbrand, Watery Grave. Trading makes zero second. I mean, they're a paladin deck. I also want to keep my Atraxa in play if I'm ready next turn. I don't know, it's fine. I was maybe supposed to upkeep Solitude, Ephemerate. Play around like top deck Surge. Is the Goryo's Rimmer just strictly better than Aethermage's Touch? Well, we are playing Aethermage's Touch in this deck. There's also like a million builds of Goryos, and this version is just like the techie Force of Negation build, which I like a lot. I like the techie Force of Negation build, but it is there's a lot of different ways to go. Yeah, I think we're gonna get the 5-0. It's gonna take a while though, because these Hammer players, they really gotta brainstorm a bit. Jabberwocky says he never won on a Mold of 3 in his life until today. It's funny. Happy to oblige. Gets a Shadow Spear. That can't be true. Surely Jabber's won on the Mold 3 before. I know my hatred of blue-white control. I don't hate blue-white control. Like, just like I know I talk a lot of shit about blue-white control, but it's because I'm a blue-white control player too, you know, and it's always been the joke. In fact, there was a long time on the stream where like I would play non-control decks and people would be like, wait, Spike's playing not a control deck? What is happening? ST1, think of it 23 months. Hope you're doing well today. Almost 2 years. So they're not going to cast the Shadow Spear. So we're going to exile the Sentinel before the Ephemerate is cast, so they don't get to draw a card. And we know their hand is exactly Sigarda's Age Shadow Spear at the moment. Kragenwick Goryo combo. That deck's okay. Yesterday we were talking about like the different food decks, and I was talking about how I liked green red and Sultai green red like Troll King, Sultai Time Sieve, Boros Recommission food, and there's like another food variant that I thought was good, and I couldn't remember which one that was, and that one was Kragwick. This is a good matchup. Is Ephemerate Atraxa to force the Shadow Spear if they play it worth it? Nah, you just do this. Right, this is a creature. This is an instant. This is a land. I made a kind of a bad league with Green Red Food. It was just one league, though. It made me change my philosophy of playing so much cold, deciding what to win instead. I don't know. It's like when you're streaming, especially when you're first starting, like you get like viewers when you play control, and you don't get, or like whatever like your like specialty deck is how you always get like viewers when you play your specialty deck, and then people don't show up when you play something different. And so like it kind of takes some time to just like be like, okay, I need to play a lot of different things for the sake of like my own enjoyment of the stream and for like this stream quality to be good. So I don't know like exactly when I transitioned to be more variety. Like what I used to do, like especially at the very beginning, like I was like one of the first people streaming with Red in 6 and just like Jund mid range. And people were like really excited to watch like a new good Jund card, and so like when I was first starting to stream, I would get like 40-50 viewers when I played Jund, and I would get like 15-20 viewers when I played any other Modern Horizons deck or any other brew, any other deck. But I would still try to. I would play like Jund like 2 days a week, and I would play something else like 3 days a week as try to grow the channel. Yeah. Panda does. Like, just non-stop questions. Is Red in 6 better than Dark Confidant? Ask that probably 100 times a day. Despite not having that many viewers. Thank you, Donnie, for the 3 years. Happy anniversary. Thank you for the good luck wishes. Yeah, the answer is yes, still. Thank you, Red Black Rock deck was when I started brands from control by different stuff. Well, I mean, that was just like the Modern Horizons 2 era in general, right? Like I played a lot of I was definitely playing a lot of different stuff just in MH2 era in general, but I think I was starting to branch out before then too. Still a lot of Archmage's Charm Snapcaster decks. Is it Indulgence worse? Does it Vicious Solitude? We're boarding in like 6 white cards. So like we're really good on white cards for Solitude. We need to think about black cards for Grief. We're actually 1919. And Indulgence is just better than Mending in this mana base because of the swamps, the cottages. Lumber 21 months. Thank you. I guess we keep this. It's not a great hand though. We got a Ending against the draw against Hammer. We got a Cardinal Spell. You can see it for the 21 Lumber. They're watching you like 200, 400. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely different eras, ups and downs in viewers and stuff. Yeah, I need Swan Song. Do you have some tentative plans to draw Lord of the Rings on stream? Yeah, for sure. I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like, but there's a good chance I do like constructed in the morning, lunch, talk with the testing team on Discord, nap, brew, test off stream, and then whatever leftover time there is during the day, which won't be very much, but whatever time is left over, I could do some limited streams in the evening, afternoon. Yeah, qualifying for a PT on stream with Miracles was awesome. That was maybe the best stream ever. Okay, so if they're leading on Saga, they may have Springleaf Drum in their hand. Look at Ending. In my Necrotic Ooze era? Did I have a Necrotic Ooze era, or did we just have like Necrotic Ooze Dota decks twice? I can't remember. Maybe I did have an era. I could be maybe gaslit into believing there was an era. When was it? It was years ago. It was back during like the Luris Companion era. We won a PTQ on stream with Counterbalance Miracles with Mystic Sanctuary. The deck was awesome. The Toski era. Uh-oh. That was your first year. That's funny. The Cardigas was pretty cool. We had some good times back then, but I'm also glad that things evolved too. Ornithopter did die with the Ending. I exiled the drum instead. It was maybe better to exile the Thopter. Sometimes you exile the drum and they take these lines and they just don't have a second white ever. Do this now, you can find a Solitude. Too easy? Yeah, surely there's like a clip or something. I don't know what it'd be called. So although like me qualifying involved Yama, who was already qualified, conceding to me, and like the top 8 or top 4. He was already qualified, and he was playing Burn. I was playing Miracles. I can't remember if we played it out or not. Something tells me we played it out and he conceded anyways, or we played it out and I won. I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, you know what it was? I think what it was that we played it out in the Swiss. I think I won in the Swiss, and then we got repaired in top 8, if I remember. I think that's the history. Is founding too slow for any version of Ramander? Not necessarily too slow, but like the elementals just fit so well, especially in these versions that like need to run Ephemerate anyways for their combo. Yeah, the Lura Springtide deck was so beautiful also. I'm gonna Cottage back Solitude this turn and probably cycle my Triome. Yama was in the chat today. Definitely miss Yama's streams. Yeah, surprised none of these have gotten sacked yet. Maybe Cottage back Griselbrand and Castle. I've actually done that a couple times. It's been a while. These Hammer opponents, these last, like, it's so crazy to play against 2 Hammer opponents back to back that are just like, just not taking any game action, just not doing anything. So weird. I'm gonna try to qualify for Paper Pro Tour. Digital Tank qualifier back in 2012 doesn't feel the same. Yeah, Paper Pro Tours are so much better, but also like back then it was like it's still very difficult to qualify. All the grinders were like all online that time. Still an accomplishment. Might be keeping Hollow Moonlight? Maybe. I bet they've got a protection spell, but we just need to trade for that now, I think. Especially because our bindings will always be 2 mana because we cycled our Xander's Lounge. Yeah, you went with the E-Tron, right? Those were the days. I remember Doomwake also won a qualifier, like... I think we both won a qualifier with Mono Green, Devotion, and Pioneer a little bit later. Maybe this is because of the All Access Pass. You know, they're like newer to Magic Online. Alright. Steel Shaper's Gift. Is opponent the slowest hammer player ever? You know what's so funny? Our last round opponent was slower. Although they showed up, although they started playing quick, then they were slower, then they were like fast again. So maybe my opponent is more consistently slow. I'm gonna binding the Gardazade. Maybe it should be the Ornithopter. Yeah, let's go for the Thopter. Oh, if they have second hammer protection spell, somehow we die. I enjoy these playstyle Pioneer Rogues, not the power level win rate loss ratio. What deck would I recommend your friend that would level up from Rogues? Spirits, probably. Similar playstyle, better win rate. Although Rogues did like top 8 the Dallas RC, I believe. Like the deck is like maybe quietly better than you would think. Or like I don't know if there's like tech or something. Can Hargas Atraxa if we find an Atraxa here. I have more Griselbrand than Atraxa. So in this build we have less card types for Atraxa, and with 12 0 mana spells, I think Griselbrand is actually like weirdly better. Yeah, Spirits performed better than I expected it to. So like one thing about Spirits for me, in like the Dallas RC, I thought it was going to be a very unpopular choice because it was like very easily predictable that Rakdos was going to be the most popular deck at the tournament, and Spirits isn't favored against Rakdos. But one thing I think I really failed to understand is that even though Spirits is like not favored against Rakdos, the matchup is pretty close. Like overall they were like 48% against Rakdos. Like it's just like close enough that it's fine to play the matchup, and I bet even like some of the more experienced Spirits players could get a little bit of edge. Seeing the name of the next card draw, that's how bored we are now. I like woke up in the middle of the night, being like, wait, I think I scammed someone on the Sing Redemption, like last week. Isn't just Triome better because white is more important than black? No, it's not more important. This is a Witch's Cottage deck. Every land needs to be swamp. Marty Triome. I mean, if you go Marty Triome, it's the same. You're always going to have white, black, green, or white, black, red, or blue, black, red, blue, black, green. Like, you know, like the complement to that. You're overthinking it, I think. Oh, grief! Grief!
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Okay, another deck tech for Frost. Finally, let's get some freaky deck techs. Oh, wait, what? This is Hammer with 3 Galvanic Blasts. I'm not like other Hammer opponents. I'm different. I have 3 Galvanic Blasts. Why do I have 3 Galvanic Blasts? I don't really know. That is a good question. What do these accomplish? I'm different. Oh, and I have Ragavan. You say Ragavan is usually bad in Hammer because you have no removal spells to get your Ragavan through. I hear you say that, but I also have Galvanic Blast. Now I'm unstoppable. Read the title of the deck. I have more jokes to tell, though. American Steel. What's a kilometer raw? Okay. I would recommend saying this. What's a kilometer raw? And then winking at your opponent every single time. Oh, Goryo's Vengeance! Goryo's Vengeance! I would recommend saying that as soon as you sit down every single time. I think that would go a long way to your win percentage. We did it. We trophied. Hooray! I don't know. I would recommend not playing Ragavan, not playing Galvanic Blast in your Hammer lists. There's also another deck tech, right? I know I said bring on the deck techs. Alright, do we have time to play Obosh Rock. I may just like maybe lunchtime. I know it's been some kind of shorter streams, but I am really hungry and I can't do it.